Assalamu alaikum. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Virtual Majlis, brought to you by ADNOC Insights in support of the Volunteers.ae initiative. My name is Urdu Shamsi, Vice President, Group Portfolio at ADNOC. What is the future for oil and gas and the global economy at large? To help address this challenging question, we are delighted to have with us a world-renowned expert in this domain, Dr. John Svekianakis, Senior Scholar at the University of Cambridge and Associate Fellow at Chatham House, London. Hello, John, and thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you.
So, given everything that's happening around us, with the global pandemic being front and center, to say that 2020 has been a challenging year is probably a gross understatement. Can you perhaps begin by describing the impact of COVID-19 on the global economy? And in your view, what is a reasonable expected timeline for a return to the status quo?
I can tell you that its impact on the global economy has been very, very big. And it has been one of the most important events since the last Great Recession in 1929 that the world has ever seen. The 2008-2009 financial crisis, I'm sure some of you remember that, is a very different financial crisis, a very different crisis as a whole than what we're seeing today. If I am to compare and contrast the 2008 event was a financial crisis, not a global economic crisis. The global crisis we're seeing today has to do very much with unforeseen events. None of the events that we're seeing today were predicted 2 or 3 months ago. We couldn't believe that economies will just grind to a halt. People will stay at home. Businesses will stop. Industries will not operate. Planes would not be flying. These are unforeseen circumstances. So it's very difficult to predict how we're going to get out and when exactly we're going to get out. And most importantly, what happens to the economic landscape when we go back to some kind of normalcy. Is the normal situation is going to be the way we saw the global economy before the crisis? So in many ways, are we going to go back to what we used to? Are we going to be consuming the same stuff in the same kind of way as we did before? And my quick answer to all of this is that most likely the economic landscape is going to be different. It's not going to necessarily be all that bad, but it's going to be different. We are in uncharted territory. In short, a lot of economists say, okay, we're going to go into a steep decline and then we're going to go in a steep uptrend. So like a V type of a recession and then recovery. Are we going to see a V type of recovery? I'm not sure. Are we going to see a U type of steep decline, then a little bit of a long-term to medium-term slowdown, and then a quick recovery? It's not known. Are we going to see an L type of sharp decline and then a very long protracted recession? Very unknown as well. But at large, this is a very different crisis than the one we witnessed, and many of us remember, which is 2008, 2009.
What are your views on how the UAE economy has reacted to COVID-19? And are there some examples of policies that could be adopted elsewhere?
In fact, when you compare the UAE's measures they've taken from SMEs that they try to help, to bank loans, to the banking sector liquidity measures that they've taken, the size of these measures total about 17% to GDP, which is quite staggering. This is a huge amount of money that has been made available to the economy of the UAE, both to Abu Dhabi, Dubai, and the rest of the Emirates. So in terms of size, it has been huge. And in terms of timeliness, it has been fantastic. And I think many of these measures were then copied by many of the other GCC states and outside of the region at large. 2020 will be a rather bumpy year, but 2021, I think, will be a very good, healthy recovery for the UAE economy as a whole. Growth of around 3 to 3.5% will be something to be taking note of. and very impressive if you look at many of the other economies, not just in the GCC, but within the rest of the emerging markets. UAE is above everyone else, and it's going to do a very good in terms of growth and trickle down.
Thank you so much for watching. Please stay tuned for the second part of this virtual Majlis interview.